Welcome to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast, where world-changing spiritual entrepreneurs come to deeply awaken the power within to bring forth their greatest purpose, to create massive awakened impact for millions of souls around the planet, while enjoying being in tune with all life and real wealth in all aspects of their lives. I'm your host, Daniel John Hanneman. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Oh, my goodness. We have an amazing guest again. I think this is 4 times now, Stephen. Here we go again. It's awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome to be here with you.
No, thank you. I'm happy to be here with you and Buddha on your left.
Right.
Right.
Right. And Jesus over my other shoulder. So I got it all going. And isn't that appropriate, right? We're taking Jesus off the cross. He's not on the cross over there. He's with 2 lions, and he's over the earth, and it's hard to see there, but it really resonated for me. So that's why it's over there over my altar over there.
You got one over your right, one over your left, and you're in the middle. So
Exactly.
You're the trident. You're the balance.
There we go. Yeah, that's in your book too.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm looking forward to getting into it. We could do a 3-hour, show easily today. So I'm really love your work. So let's talk about Stephen for people that may not know you yet. Stephen Machat is an American entertainment attorney, a film producer, the author of at least how many books now? It says 5 here, but I know it's more than that.
It's 8.
8 books now, right? Yeah, you've been busy. And music publisher and manager of entertainment talent, as well as the owner of Grammy-nominated record labels. He has also taught and lectured at such prestigious universities as Oxford and Cambridge in England, and at musical festivals and book fairs in more than 100 countries. Machat was a 2018 Democratic candidate seeking election to the U.S. House to represent the 26th Congressional District of Florida, and a 2016 independent candidate who sought election to the U.S. Senate from Florida. So he's serious. He's serious about making this impact in so many ways. He's also represented many artists, including ELO, Electric Light Orchestra, Genesis, Peter Gabriel, Phil Collins, Ready for the World, Leonard, Cohen, Phil Spector, Stacey, Jackson, Snoop Dogg, New Edition, Bobby Brown, and many, many more. He's also founded the School of Sacred Knowledge, getting ready to be all over the place, synonymous with knowing that hey, we're loved. It's time to wake up, and it's going to be well known around the world. So I'm grateful to be a part of helping you with that. So, all right, so we're here to talk about taking Jesus off the cross. Wow, we've been seeing Jesus on that cross for a long time. Lots of symbols, right? Lots of images that we receive is seeing Jesus on that cross. It's a beautiful thing for many people, what that seems to represent for people. But I'm going to back things up a little bit and ask you a little bit about, what drove you to write this book? What's really behind all of it?
I spent my whole life researching it. I love Jesus, and I think Christ is the biggest lie known to mankind right now. Jesus was about love. Christ is about control. They took a man who taught the righteous way, and they made it into a religion where that religion's killed more people than any religion in the history of mankind. We sit here and we say we're a Christian nation, and then we tell you we could go kill people. We tell you we don't need to feed people. We tell you that you got to go get a job so you could go work in McDonald's instead of building communities where we serve each other and everyone gets to have a minimum standard of living. Everything Jesus spoke about is not anything that we do. And they switched it. It's a bait and switch. They bait you with love and they switch it to control. And we create imperial religions and imperial governments that go around killing. If you study the history of Europe, it's a non-ending war between different versions of their Christ, all claiming to love Jesus. When you study World War II, it's nothing but the Nazis who were the Catholic Church against the Eastern Orthodox Church, which is the movie that I did with the Russians, which hopefully I could deliver and get out. So anyway, I spent my whole life doing it. And because I am trained legally to get your mind to accept it, I wrote all these other books to show you what you've read in that book. And I told you how it began, why it began, and it's all part of my series of the colonization of Earth and the making of mankind. Books 1, 2, and I'm finishing up Opus 3. And because I am music, it's a rock opera. I give it to you through song and dance. Because if I can make your vibrations move, because you're a physical being with particles that move, you vibrate. So if I could get you to vibrate in the energy of love, then I've done something. That's my goal. That's why I wrote it.
Wow. Yeah. And so I asked you this question after I read the book, or so, I don't know when exactly. I think it was after I read the book. I asked, you kept saying, Jesus isn't Christ or whatever. I'm like, what do you mean Christ? What do you mean by Christ? So help our listeners, because they might be like, because they all have different concepts, even what the word Christ means. So what are you talking about?
Okay, let's go from top to bottom. Christ is a Latin word, okay? It's their interpretation of the Greek word, which is Christos, okay? Christos means Messiah, right? The man with the message. It comes from the Hebrew word called Messiah. Again, that's the prophet, the one with the message. Well, Christ got switched. All of a sudden, they're telling you that Jesus died and now he became Christ. Well, who's Christ? And they're telling you that's God. Well, the truth is we're all from God. That's what Jesus told you. You know, right now you're the son of God as I'm the son of God. Your wife's the daughter of God. We're all from God. Matter of fact, every single thing behind you, every single thing you see, touch, taste, or smell is all part of God. We're all part of God. We're part of a puzzle called God. And it was to teach us the righteous way to live instead of killing each other, which is all we do. We poison earth, we kill each other, and then we go to the God that you wind up on Sunday and say, forgive me, God, for I have sinned. And then you believe that God forgives you for what you did that you know is wrong. It's wrong. So I want to bring people back to the essence of Jesus, what he was. Jesus was love. I believe in Jesus. And I just look at this Christ that we live in, and this is wrong behavior.
Now, why is it that, getting right to the title, because it's so intriguing, why is it that we would want to take Jesus off the cross? What does that actually mean? Like, why would we want to take Jesus off the cross?
What was he doing on the cross? They killed him.
But the concept for a lot of people means, okay, we were all sinners. Now that we put Jesus on the cross, God came down, it brought his only son. Now he sacrificed that for you. It doesn't make sense to me, to be honest. But like, as we sacrifice now, now you can enter into the pearly gates of what they call heaven, right? So that's the idea with the going on the cross, right? I mean, that's classically what we would.
All bullshit. And I'm here to tell you straight up that I speak with Jesus and I know God. And if you believe that he died for your sins that you haven't committed yet, then you've got issues. Jesus, when they put him up on the cross, is to show you what happens if you question the imperial religions and the imperial governments that run our world, because you too will be on that cross. Look what they do to people who question it. Study the history of Europe. Study the history of any religion, imperial religion. Jesus didn't die on the cross, and that's what that book gives you. It was a game. It was a setup. And unfortunately, they were unable to put our faces there to let you know that Jesus survived the cross. I gave you how it was set up, why it was set up, how they got him on the cross, how they got him off the cross, and how they got him out of Jerusalem, where he went afterwards, and where it went wrong, and how the Roman legion just flipped it. Because when they needed an imperial god to perpetuate their imperial killing order, they created Jesus Christ, the superstar, in 325 AD in a place called Nicosia. 212 bishops got together, brought in by Constantine, the emperor, and they voted in the rules of Christianity, Catholic Church, Catholic in Latin means true, the true church. The church represents the four winds, the north, the south, if it's, vertical, and the east and the west, if it's horizontal. And in the middle is where all the winds come together and they share the news, the gospels. So I'm here to show you what they know to be true, what the Vatican's hid from everybody. And it's really disgusting because we sit here, and if you love Jesus, how do you get it where you could go kill each other? That's not Jesus. And someone needs to tell the truth. And I have the wherewithal to learn the truth and to tell the truth, because if I'm wrong, then I live in hell anyway. And that Christ could go, stop, whatever. I don't believe in death by decree. I don't believe that our Father God would do that. And the Father God religion totally disregards Mother Earth. And if you believe in the 10 Commandments, Father God and Mother Earth, that's who you're supposed to honor. Not your mother and father. They need to honor the Mother of Earth and the Father God. You got your consciousness from Father God, and you got your physical body from Mother Earth. And Mother Earth controls your body. But because we're Christians, we could go pollute Mother Earth and think it's okay. Where did this virus come from? No one wants to sit and intellectually digest that. Oh, it came from a bat. So let's assume that idiot argument's correct. Where did the bat get it? Well, the bat ate something. Well, what did the bat eat? Well, they ate something that man makes. We poison the world because we believe that Father God gave us permission to go destroy nature, which they didn't. And if you go to your church on Sunday, you have a wind-up God. God will forgive you. It's insane. It's absolute insanity. And if I end up being nothing but the sacrifice to tell people, tell the truth, hear the truth, feel the truth, be the truth, stop giving away your power to these comedians. It needs to end. And by the way, where is Father God right now? He's not stopping the virus. What is this? This book, I broke it down real clearly. I gave you what happened, how it happened. And it's really interesting. And I want to make myself available. I want to go at this. I've spent my whole life doing this. All the music I've done put me in a position where I could learn the truth. I've studied every religion there is. I've lived all over the world. You got Buddha behind you. Well, how did Buddha happen? Well, Buddha happened in 500 BC, right? Jesus happened in 0 BC. The world was desperate looking for prophets, messiahs, because the sky gods that made us, known as Nephilim, from a planet called Nibiru, disappeared. Or so we thought. So we looked for answers from the beyond. And we looked for people to give us the righteous way to live, where we support each other, we help each other. We build a world together. We build a community where we're all partners in the community. And obviously some are better than the others, some are more excelled. Not everyone's a type A personality. And there's nothing wrong with being a type B personality. Honor them, honor the people, help each other, support each other. It needs to stop. And I'm here, if I do nothing else in this life, to be the source, to question everything. Anyone that tells you to do something, you need to ask yourself one question. Why are they telling me to do this? Are they telling me because it's going to help me and them? Or are they telling me because it's going to help them if I conform and behave? Socrates, one of my heroes, was put to death. He was put to death because he taught the citizens of what they call the first democracy, which may have been 9 people. They had more slaves than anybody. He taught the children of that democracy to question everything. You don't need to be obedient. You need to live together. You need to work together. And there's nothing wrong with asking questions. Nothing. And if someone doesn't give you an answer, they get upset at you. Watch out.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. So, taking Jesus off the cross. Yeah. So I love the title. I just love the title because it's really.
Did you like the cover?
Yeah. I mean, I especially like the title. I love the cover. But the thing is it's just taking us out of that whole concept And
It's a
that's what I
matrix.
love. And for those that, I mean, and then what I love about you and your work, what you're up to, what you're pointing to, is, right now, it's what you were saying again. It just reminds me again of the political world, right? Because you talked about it in the book indirectly. You talked about, when you go one way, you're going to the right. That's like the one way you can go. You can go to the left, and then you're going to be a leftist. And one thing's just, so I just love the way you were starting to outline that in the book, and that it's not any of it. That's what I've been talking about, and you've been part of the inspiration I've always talked about, but you've been also part of the inspiration me talking about this. Why do we keep giving in to all the narratives going on? Why the two political system here in America, for example, the two political systems, really a lot of countries, like it's the same thing. Why the enslavement? Why not realize we're the source of power, like you said, that it's in the center in our hearts. That's where everything's coming from, and to allow ourselves to get out of the matrix that they've created for us to enslave us. And so taking Jesus off the cross means a lot to me, because it means that we actually get to, wake up and live the life that we want and create it from that place in the center that Jesus was pointing to. I mean, I talked to Jesus too. I challenged Jesus too. That's something we have in common, right? So it's like he always says, "Come back into the heart, come back home." Like
He's an ascending master.
Children of God. You're all children of God.
Yeah, Jesus is an ascending master.
Yeah,
he's there to be spoken to. He's part of the. If you look at the Hindu tradition and their afterlife, their ascension, he came here to teach us how to live in physical form. You came here basically trying to become God. You have an ego, EGO. It stands for edging God out. Well, you need to lose your ego, join the community's ego, and help the community grow. And if you build a community of friends and family, you can have a very productive life. I'll show you something. Take your right hand and go make a circle with your index finger. Look what you're doing, right? You're going clockwise.
Yeah, that's just normal. What people normally would do, right?
Those are the conservatives. Now do it with your finger again. Go the other way. You're a leftist. Most people will go clockwise instead of counterclockwise. But if you do this, right? Mm-hmm. When you meet, that's the common denominator. Feel the energy when you get both. The way the earth goes around the sun and the way the sun goes around the universe. It's outrageous. That's the energy. We're all energy. We're more than a body. We're particles. So using music, like I have a big new artist now called Rox Revolt and the Velvets, and she was sent to me by some source. She's as good as any I've ever had, and you'll be hearing about her. Her song's called King Revolt. It's really cool. So I still put out music. I still get engaged, and I finished this book, these series, and we're going to end up having them in films with Netflix if I can close the deal when I'm in LA. And when am I there? I'm there in 2 weeks. But I doubt the deal will be closed. We'll be closed in March or early April. And I'm ready to roll. I just want to tell people the truth. And few people know history like I do because I live it. I can't get it out of my head, which is my favorite Electric Light Orchestra song. Can't get you out of my head. Can't get it out of my head.
Yeah, I mean, that is like one of the big things I love about you is how much you know as far as history. I feel it's important because it's something that I don't get a heavy dose of when we talk about spiritual aspects and all these different concepts. We don't get the depth of history that that could be helpful and kind of understand how do we get to where we are today, right? One of the biggest questions, how do we get to where we are today? A lot of people say, forget about that, though. I wonder about that, Stephen. Like, I think it's important, but a lot of people say that's being in the past. We're focused on the past, and we need to stay in the now moment. We shouldn't be talking about all this stuff. Why don't you just be awake and that's it? So, what do you say to people that don't feel like, maybe this is all that helpful? Like, why are we going? Who cares? This one, that one, and like some people
Because
are.
if you don't, other people do. And you need to understand why when they look at you as a man, they immediately draw a conclusion about you. When they hear
Right.
you're from Indiana, they immediately draw a conclusion about you. When you find out that your family was from Europe and you were German or you were British or you were French, they immediately draw. And then when they find out your religion, are you Catholic? Are you Protestant? Are you Jewish? Are you Hindu? Are you a Jain? Are you, you know,
It goes
like
on
we
and
run,
on.
and it could go on and on. You're identified by your past. And what happens is instead of having a choice, you end up being identified by your parents and your grandparents. And you will live and defend it and you will protect it. We live in a world that divides because in division, there's small power. The real power is community unity. But to do that, you have to give up your small ego and you have to join the whole.
Yeah.
And then when you sit and you go to these churches or these temples or these mosques and you give away your power to a central figure telling you, I speak to God for you and you'll do what I tell you. It's like, what are you doing? Who is this guy to speak to God for you? Who is this woman to say she speaks to God for you? You talk to God. God lives in that heart, right there, in your left chest, right where you don't have a pocket there, but you almost do. You could.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's right. God's right here. We don't, okay. I mean, so our audience here, a lot of my audience, I know anyway, gets that part for the most part. They're there. They get you. Uh,
What I
so
did
yes.
with this book
True. What? What's
is
that?
that what I did with this book is I share with you how Jesus survived the cross.
Yeah.
I share with you the metaphysical truths of how you could obtain the energy to do what he did. I also share with you that he was only on that cross for 6 hours. I share with you how they got him off the cross, where they brought him. I share with you how when the Sadducees and the Pharisees, who were the imperial religions, the Romans didn't give a shit. They just wanted you to trade. But when the religions realized what Jesus had done, the trick that was played on him by a core team, it's outrageous, and they went looking for him. I tell you how he escaped. I tell you who the disciples were. I tell you who the apostles were. I tell you who the core members were. I identify Mary, his mother, and Mary Magdalene, his respective partner in his commune. I share with you everything. I introduce you to his sisters. All information the Vatican has. They have everything I wrote. I tell you how they call Mary Magdalene the apostles of the apostles in one of the books, but you're not allowed to know that. They told you Jesus wasn't a lover. Jesus was in human form. And that's what we do. We share physical contact and must be respectfully and with grace, and I share with you everything because it's bothered me forever. And then I go on to tell you how Christianity was created out of this ruse, which is in that book, Opus 2. I give you the imperial religions that came out of it. I tell you how they separated, how the Catholic Church became the Eastern Orthodox Church and the Vatican, and how the Eastern Orthodox Church modified and became this and that. I share with you how Islam grew out of that. I share with you the fact that a Jew was someone from Judea and it became the Hebrew religion. What is this? And then they tell you the Jews killed Jesus. And then everyone hates the Jews. And you walk around, you call yourself a Jew. People look at you like, oh, here comes the victim, the Christ killer. It's like, excuse me, if that story was true, the one that killed Jesus is the hero. Because if Jesus didn't die, that lie of Jesus becoming Christ could have never happened. The hero's the one that turned him in. It's very interesting. So anyway, it was my goal to do it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you did it. You're doing a great job, Steve.
I'm trying.
You're doing a great job with it. I mean, there's so many fascinating aspects to the book, and you just really lay out like so many things. And when it comes to the Pharisee, the Saudis, you got, and then you talk about from the first book, we've got Enlil and we got Murdoch and we got Enki, and these are the people, the beings or whatever, the Nephilim, that where it kind of started here on Earth, right? And that you see the interconnections. And one of the fascinating things for me too is that you talk about the Essenes. That's something that's very precious to me. And I don't even all know why. I kind of know why, but I don't know all the reasons why. And I'd love it for you to talk about that a little bit, because you talk about the Essenes, the Kalus, you talk about the Watchers, because this is important to the book. I'm not going to give the whole book away today. That'd take a long time to go through everything, but you talk about
like any of your listeners,
yeah.
If any of your listeners decide to get the book, they could ask me questions because I do give it to you. So here we are, boom, it's 200 BC. I've got you in an area called Judea. Why Judea? What is that area? Because that's where the Nephilim hid their weapons. That was the central point. And from that point, everything to the left is west, everything to the right is east, right? And that's where they divided the world, they conquered the world. That's in Opus 1, colonization of Earth, the making of mankind. So now Marduk, the son of Enki, who's our creator in the Bible, the serpent, and the serpent is basically your energy, like your spine. But if you take your spine and you make it horizontal, that's the serpent, the one that gave you the energy. Anyway, Enki's the serpent. And so what happened was, somehow or another, these humans that they created, all they did was kill each other. And that was the sport that they had. So now they needed to stop killing each other. So I walk you through the creation of what I call the Balkans. You know it as Greece. And then from the Balkans, they jumped to Rome. And then Rome became the biggest killers. The Greeks were nothing but philosophical people trying to figure out, what am I doing here? The Romans were more simple. They were the trade controllers. They were the warriors. They would kill you. So would the Greeks, but with different motives. So the Romans took over for the Greeks. They were running this urban area called Jerusalem, right there, right in what we now call the Middle East. Well, they had rules of order, but somehow or another, there was this scene that was created, and the group was called the Essenes. Well, where did they come from? And what were they? All of a sudden, they appear 200 BC. And what are they doing? Well, they had an outer order. What is an outer order? That's the outer order that made believe they were Orthodox Pharisees. Where did the Pharisees come from? Well, when Marduk's troops conquered what was then Jerusalem, and they took them to Babylon, before Cyrus freed them, they were learning Zoroastrian themes of fire and alchemy, and they were learning different orders of energy. And they came back and they modified Enli's Hebrew rules, and they came up with the Talmud. So I teach about the Talmud. I teach about the Damascus document, which was written, basically was the rule of the Essenes. You make an outer order so no one questions you. Just make them as orthodox as possible. Inside you have an inner order. And what is the inner order doing? Well, the inner order is quiet. And I gave you the 9 communities that they have, which includes Quorum. And in those communities, what they were doing was they were setting the stage to make the energy line that would keep someone alive that was put up on a cross. Because these two organizations called the Pharisees and the Sadducees, they claimed they spoke for God. So the whole game was to prove neither of them speak for God. And you could throw me on your cross of death, but if I could survive it, then you don't speak for God. God speaks for God. You don't speak for God. So that was the game they tried to play. And they played it, and they played it well. So they set it up. But inside, so you have an outer order which goes right. It's basically a cell, right? How does a cell work? Well, the outer order goes right? That's your electron. It's charged. The bottom order, which is your proton, it feeds your energy, it goes left, it moves with the sun. And right in the middle is the energy called the nucleus, which every cell we have is the energy of life, which the Catholic Church calls the Holy Ghost. So that was called the core. Without that energy, you don't exist. That makes you go left and right. So they had a core group that was setting this up. And the core group came from money. You have Joseph of Arimathea, who was in the middle of it. You have Mary Magdalene, you know, and I share who these people were, the core people, the people that really knew the game. And I tell you how they got Jesus on the cross, how they cut him down in 6 hours, how they put him in a home, they put him in a healing center. The healing center led to Joseph's house, how they got him into the house, and they took him up the hill, if I may, through what today is called Lebanon into Syria, where Paul, who was Saul, he was part of the core group of the Essenes. His job was to tell everyone that he saw Jesus. He meant to say in physical form, but he didn't say that. He let you believe that it was in spiritual form, which became the dogma that the Romans, who knew the truth. And why did the Romans know the truth? Because Joseph of Arimathea was the biggest merchant in that area. His ships went up to a place called Glastonbury and what today we call Cornwall. And in Cornwall, they had tin mines. And what do tin mines have to do with this? Well, you take tin, you alchemize it with copper, you get bronze. What were they doing with bronze? Well, the Romans were killing you. They had bronze weapons. Joseph was the most important merchant of his era. And he was Jesus's uncle. And Mary was his sister. And his father ran the tin mines. And they were also connected to the Druids, which is what I threw in there for you. I gave you as much truth as I can, and I'm overloading people. But if you get the book and you just keep reading it, it's a simple play. And many years before that, I worked on The Last Temptation of Christ. Peter Gabriel was my client when he did the music, and there was something missing in that movie. You know, Marty Scorsese, who just didn't have the nerve to tell you that Christ is really alive. I'll show it to you so you could figure it out. But Jesus was love. Jesus is not the Christ of control. So I walk you through these scenes. And what's amazing is after Jesus dies, so they say, basically died, how to get out of Judea, there's no more scenes. So I teach you how they picked up. Now, when you're talking about the Kalus and the Watchers, I'm talking about energies from other dimensions. And we are not the only energy. And people don't want to hear that. You need to hear that. We're prisoners here in a matrix called planet Earth. Something came into us, told us to land here, and we came here to serve and to be the slaves for the industrial revolution taking place here that was going on when the Nephilim were looting planet Earth for gold. Which brings me into Opus 1. And these books are connected, but I need to give someone a wake-up call so they see the rest of this. My goal is to tell you how we got here, why we got here, and what we need to do. Because right now, this place is hell. And if you don't believe that, then what can I say to you? But if you're living in fear, if you're living where you have to put on a mask, and no one wants to intellectually ask why the mask, who made the virus? Someone made the virus. Who made the virus? And you know, they get in all these conspiracies. It was done by this one and that one. No, it's simpler. It was made by mankind organizing different soils so they could feed more people. You change the soil, you'll change its composition. If you change its composition, gas will come out from Earth, which is like a fart from our stomachs. When we eat something we didn't want, that gas can become a virus. A virus is a living organism. The gas goes in the air, it's alchemized by the sun, the energy from above, and it gets life. And we inhale it. It's in RNA form, it goes in our body. That's my book, The History of Viruses. I'm here to learn as much as I can and to share it because I have no fear. I speak truth. I have no problem intellectually discussing this with people because if you disagree with me, I listen to you. And if you're right, God bless you. You just made me better. And that's what I like. Anyway, I hope I
great.
connected it.
Yeah, you have so much to share. Yeah, we could just spend the rest of our life learning all the aspects of this.
But I'm watching your eyes, even though we're zooming it.
Yeah, yeah.
I could see you totally in line with you feel what I'm telling you. And that's the vibration of truth. You know, who were the Kalus? The Kalus were whatever energy existed to stop mankind from killing each other. They educated people. Who were the Watchers? Well, the Watchers are the Palladians. Who are they? The energy of love. Who are we? We're the energy that lives as beasts. We kill each other. And we say it's okay. Other animals that kill each other eat each other. We just leave it for road crew. We feed the worms. You know, it's very interesting. There is no love. Everything we love is done as an object, not an equal subject.
An object. Yeah, that's so interesting. That was something I did have on my list of possible questions for you here, Stephen. I wanted to ask you about that because you actually literally made a statement in the book that caught my eye. You said we are not capable of unconditional love. Literally, that's what it says. So explain that to us, because I think most people would say, "Yeah, we're capable. Maybe you don't do a great job of that, but we're capable." So tell us more about what you mean by that.
Try to love somebody without any wants or needs.
Mm-hmm.
Try to treat them the same way you want to. Well, I can't say that, but try to treat them as an equal subject. Just love them for who and what they are, not from what you could get from them. I mean, we're raised to look at people and figure out, what the fuck can I get from this guy? What can I get from this woman? You know, instead of what can I share with them? Love is a place in space. It's a consciousness that you share with someone. If I love you because you're the perfect sexual object that I need, that's not love. If I love you because I want you to make my children, that's not love. If I love you for who you and what you are, regardless, that's getting to love. Unconditional love is impossible in physical form, because at some state you're going to need something. It could be the state where you're dying. All of a sudden, everyone you loved equally, now you need them to perform for you. It's hard to do in body form. But in the society we live in, called, you know, needs and wants, good luck. It's a process that never ends. And I know nothing, but I'm aware of a lot, and I'm living my life to learn. I want to ascend. I don't want to come back.
Yeah.
It's time for a new dimension.
That was great. I love what you said, because that's so in alignment with what I always say. No matter how clear I am about something, at the end of the conversation, I say, I don't know anything. I don't know anything really.
You really don't.
I don't really know anything, but it's still worth exploring. I think, that's my take on it. It's worth exploring all these things.
You need to. That's why you're here. You know, basically, you're a plant that has the ability to move. We do the same thing plants do. And people don't look at it like that. You're a moving plant. And if you were made to sit still, you would be a plant. You wouldn't be an animal. And animals have to eat living energy. When you eat a plant, you killed the plant. People don't teach you that. When you eat these animals, I mean, were they not made for us to eat? How did they get to Earth? If you believe in evolution, and if you really look at the truth, you think a cow evolved? How? A cow has no ability to protect itself. None. How did a sheep evolve, right? You know, I used to love Bambi, and, when I was little, I had those pets and everything. Where did these domesticated animals come from? A pig? What is that?
According to some people I've heard, they said all these animals and all this life form and us evolving all happened at once. I wonder how that happened, Stephen.
Yeah, right? I mean, a cow is one of the greatest animals you could own. It's got the milk, it's got the cheese. You could eat it when it's done. You could wear it. It's really interesting. And that's book one. I give you the truth. People could say I'm out there, but not to see that truth. Maybe you're out there, or maybe you don't want to go out there. Yeah. You need to understand the solar energy that creates our energy that gives us life.
Yeah. I mean, I resonate with a lot of this, the information you share, absolutely. And I think, unconditional love, is definitely where is the pointer. Of course, yeah, we're not going to be able to maybe fully embody that, right, in our lifetime. I think
But you'll get there.
right? It's the path.
Yeah, you got to get there.
Yeah, yeah. The last question maybe for today is, I just want to ask you, you were talking with some of your people, I want to say, some of the people you hang out with, right? And you were talking about the book, and you're talking about this whole thing where Jesus, didn't really die on the cross, and it's kind of a sort of a magic act in a way. And then you said, "How is that done?" And then you said, "I'll show you how it's done." And you started going into this experience. I'd love for you to share about it. It's a fun story, and it's a very intense experience, obviously, for you. And it didn't happen that too long ago. So tell us about that.
I sat with my friends who were Catholics, and we were in a place called Los Angeles. And I was looking south, and we were on the balcony. The hotel's closed now because of COVID, but we were there in November, and the sun's coming up on the east in the southern hemisphere, facing us, and the energy was coming. And I said, "Here's how you do it." And I showed him how to make a triangle. And what I started doing was I started doing my Kundalini poses to bring the energy in. Well, I brought it in and my body tilted. And I felt like I could fly away. The scrambled eggs and bacon I was eating, I started seeing pigs and chickens, and I couldn't sit still, and I was ready to fly away. And Debbie, my other half, I said to her, "I think I need to go lay down." Then when I went upstairs to go lay down, I couldn't lay down. I was like ready to fly through that window. So what I did then was I said, "I think I'm having a heart attack." So it's in Los Angeles, West Hollywood. I lived there forever. And so what we did was we went to the hospital. She drove, I directed. I didn't want to have an ambulance. So maybe I knew I wasn't dying, but who knows? I had more energy than ever. I jump out, and there's 3 COVID police not letting anyone into the hospital. And I'm like, well, fuck that. I'm having a heart attack. So I went right through them. I ended up being put on a stretcher. They sat and they did all those tests that they do, right? And they said to me, "You're not having a heart attack," but they saw what was going on. I had energy in my left hand, which was now part of this part, and it was moving left to right, and it was outrageous. So they kept me there, and they started giving me tests. I took whatever they are, MRIs and CAT scans. I took 5, and luckily, they found that I had basically a plugged artery called the Widowmakers. So we put a stent in there, which probably saved my life, my little experiment. And they couldn't answer it. They saw it take about 14 hours for my hands to calm down. So what happened next was they let me go. And I went back and they gave, I went to other doctors. And just last week, I took 5 more tests. I took MRAs because they wanted to see what kind of energy was in my arteries. And they can't find anything. And now I'm part of a Harvard study because they know everything I'm telling you. And, it's been known before, and I'm just looking. It's called neutrino, Neutrino. And there are 3 of them. There's muons, arc, and us2 particles. It's the energies that we get from beyond that make you tick, that they don't teach you. You're an energy source. And when you lose your energy, you got a problem. And when they keep giving you fattening foods, which pollute your organs, you become basically a tree in human form. We were made to use energy. But unfortunately, they being the controllers of the matrix, and they're there. No ifs, ands, or buts. They love to divide us instead of unite us. And maybe I'm one of them. Maybe I'm the black sheep of them, because I've spent my whole life teaching people truth. And by the way, those 3 people and Debbie, they flipped out because I was really ready to fly. I had more energy. I'm like, I'll see you. You know, it's like whatever.
That's
And
so
it took me.
so
But anyway,
fascinating.
I got a full test. It will give me I figure I'm going to be about 108. That was the deal I made. And I'm not Saint Germain, you know, I'm not an ascending master. Or if I am, I don't know it. I'm just here as being one of you. I've suffered more problems than anybody, but I always put on a happy face because I see someone smile, I see someone sad, and I'm like, I could cheer them up. I could give them the confidence to do something. I can make something happen that will better them and maybe better the people that they're with. That's what I try to do.
That's great. That's great. Perfect. Perfect. It's so interesting what you said about you felt like you could fly. I mean, that is so cool because I'm writing a book myself, and I wrote in there, I said, you know, everything's available, everything's possible. We could fly. That's why everybody has this idea they can fly, because you can fly. You can fly. So I just broke that in my chapter today, Stephen. I love how that works, right? These signals that come through. You're doubling
By the
down.
way, for you to fly, the reason you can't is a bird breathes in and breathes out at the same time, which is really cool when you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
See, we breathe in and we breathe out. But if you could breathe in and breathe out at the same time, you'll get the energy where that's how planes work.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I simplified it, but our bodies weren't made to fly.
Well, some say we already have.
Maybe before other parts of us, you could definitely, what we can't do, we can figure out how to make it done for us. That we could definitely do.
Yeah. Yeah.
You ever fly a kite over a hill?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right. It's fun. No, you on the kite.
Oh, me on the kite. That'd be another way. But no, I believe we can fly. I really do. And that's my truth. Okay. I believe we can fly. I don't look, because I look at, there's transcendent things that can happen that don't make sense to normal science. You know.
No, you just got to fix your lungs so you get it's an energy. And it needs to be coordinated because the energy you're using, you got to get out at the same time. Watch a bird fly, right? They have a left wing and they have a right wing, but in the middle is the missile that they are.
Mm-hmm. But we can do a lot of other things. We can, even if you didn't believe that, we can make, I don't know if you believe this, but we can make objects move. We can affect all kinds of things. We have all kinds of capacities and abilities that we're not
aware of. You could shoot the energy to make, you could make those pictures behind you move.
Right.
You could throw the energy and they'll move 100%. Right. You could elevate yourself. Definitely.
Right.
You could, it's an anti-gravitational game. I don't know it, but I know how to do it. No, I know it can be done. I do not know how to do it.
Right.
You know, one day I was with Muhammad Ali and he was really proud that he figured out how to elevate himself. It was really funny. I was sitting with him and the year was 2001. I was friendly with him when I saw him. He knew me, I knew him. And he elevated.
Wow.
He was so, he got, it was maybe that much. If it's coming up. Anyway, it's like 5 inches. How come there it is? That much. 5, whatever. But it's cool.
Yeah, and you know, that's, I don't know if we talked about this, but recently I was talking to people about, and you would know it as much as anybody, that people who become big stars, people like you help them to become stars, but also a lot of them get into that, those ecstatic energies, those elevated states that people could feel when they're on stage, right? Why Princes and, you know, some of the big artists that people just feel that there's really something going on with that. That's really true and real. And a lot of people don't realize that those things are happening. And that's part of what you're drawn to. It's
correct. I agree.
Yeah. So, all right, Stephen, well, we're so grateful to have you today. Everybody, I'd love for you to check out the book and this, both books, really, The Colonization of Earth, the first one, Opus 1, and then Opus 2, Taking Jesus Off the Cross is his latest one. That's the one we talked about today. So check those out. You can get those, you know, anywhere, again, Amazon, etc. We'll go to the School of Sacred Knowledge.com, the School of Sacred Knowledge.
All one word. Yeah, all one word.
All one word?
Yeah, it's the schoolofsacredknowledge.com.
Yeah,
Just go there.
yeah. So awesome. Thank you for being on the show. If you guys want to check me out, go to yoursacredpurpose.com and check it out. I've got a free meditation, meditate, make money. And I also have the opportunity for you guys to get some energy scanning from me. I tune into you and use my powers and abilities to see what's going on for you and what's the potentials for you as well. So check that out at yoursacredpurpose.com. All right, Stephen, any last words for everybody before we're out of here?
No, just all of you be safe and be well. And I look forward to you. Communicate with me. The schoolofsacredknowledge.com. Ask our friend here. He'll put you in touch with me. He's a good man. Follow him. I feel his heart. I feel his energy. And I'm here to serve. And I thank you. And I thank you for giving me whatever we just had, 55 minutes. And now I'm going to go watch the Trump impeachment. I'll watch the end. Boy, do I wish I was the senator. Because I would have had a field day in this
You want to get a crack in there, it sounds to me.
If I had won in 2016 and the government shut me down.
Yeah.
Because they know one thing. You can't buy me.
Yeah.
I stand by truth.
Yeah.
And thank you. Happy Friday. And I'll speak to you in a couple of days or whatever.
Yeah, sounds great. Sounds perfect. And much love to everybody. Keep on listening. We'll keep on rocking it here on Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. Goodbye for now, everyone.
Take care and thanks. And thank you.
You're listening to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. Stay tuned for our next upcoming new episodes each Wednesday and Saturday. Please be sure to subscribe, rate, and review to help us to serve you best. As a reminder, you can get your free Meditate and Make Money meditation at www.yoursacredpurpose.com to rock your sacred purpose. Goodbye for now, everybody.